Hello and welcome to Bluebird Law. My name is Shannon and I am a Colorado family law attorney. And this is Ricky. He is a Colorado family law paralegal. And we are here today to bring you some information in honor of Pride Month about parental rights for LGBTQ parents. It's no secret that laws are biased against folks who don't fit the cultural majority. Whether you are LGBTQ, a person of color, female, or differently abled, you have probably experienced this type of bias at one point or another. In Colorado, family laws favor those in heterosexual relationships. So, for example, a couple who both identify as female may choose one person to carry and birth their child. When the child is born, that mother automatically has a legal relationship to her child. But what about the other mother? And why does it matter? So here are some things that you need to know about parental rights for non-biological parents in same-sex relationships. So why does it matter? The issue of parents' legal status is not typically questioned in your normal day-to-day life. The main situations where a parent's legal status would be raised would be, number one, if the parents were to separate or get divorced, and number two, if one of the parents were to die before their child turned 18. In both situations, the court would need to determine who has parental responsibilities for the child. So that includes decision-making authority and parenting time, which is what we in Colorado call custody. So when two parents get divorced or separate, they must decide how to co-parent their child or children, either by agreement or through a court hearing process. So in that situation, the biological parent could theoretically call into question the other parent's legal status and therefore her rights to the child. This would also come into play if one mother were to die while the child was still underage. So the other mother would generally assume full parental responsibilities for the child. However, other people, such as the deceased mother's parents, could try to gain parental responsibilities for the child through the court process. And in that process, they could challenge the non-biological mother's legal status. So here are some solutions. If you are a parent or a soon-to-be parent who is concerned about your rights, here are some things that you can do. So number one, make sure you're on the birth certificate. Okay, if you are a non-biological parent, you can get on your child's birth certificate in a couple of different ways. Okay, so the first and easiest way is to fill out a voluntary acknowledgement of parentage form. So this is usually given to you in the hospital when your child is born. And this form establishes a legal presumption that you are your child's parent in Colorado, and it is enforceable in every state under federal law. The second way is to complete a second parent adoption. So this is a simplified adoption procedure that allows a parent who may have come into the child's life at a later time after their birth to establish a legal relationship to the child and to be added to the child's birth certificate. Number two, make a marital or cohabitation agreement. So marital agreements are also known as postnuptial agreements, and these are agreements that you can make with your spouse about what would happen if you were to get divorced or if one of you were to die. So cohabitation agreements are basically the same thing, but for folks who are not married. While these agreements are typically made for financial reasons, to allocate financial assets and debts, you could also make an agreement recognizing each other as your child's parents. And while you're at it, you may as well do some financial and practical planning that will benefit your family. So note that you cannot make an agreement about child support or parenting time, child custody, in an agreement. Number 3, make a will. You probably think about wills as a way to let your family and friends know who you want to get your stuff when you die. But if you have children, you can also set up a guardianship provision in your will for your child or your children. Same-sex couples can use this guardianship provision to make clear that the other parent should be the child or children's legal guardian. And bonus, because it's always a good idea to have a will, especially if you have children or you're in a non-traditional family. So finally, a note to LGBTQ families. With everything going on in politics these days, those of us in groups that have been historically oppressed feel especially vulnerable right now. Nobody can change the fact that family is family, whether you are bonded by blood or by love. So consider these legal planning tools to protect your family. If you live in Colorado and you are interested in some information, book a free 20-minute consultation with me to discuss protecting your parental rights.